Campbell's Comments New Zealand show today. Canberra out. It's going to be a much better show. Welcome, Nigel Armstrong. Hello, mate.
Doesn't get better unless I'm not on it, then it's probably better.
No, we can give Cam as big a hard time as we like. He said he's got commitments, but by all accounts, it's the weather over there. I think he's gone into hibernation.
Commitments or committed?
He's a fan of yours too, so good luck to anyone that's an enemy. Just on that, the weather's pretty ordinary, isn't it, over there today?
Yeah, I just got back from Brisbane on the 2 o'clock this morning, and I was supposed to be at a Methven meeting, Trotting Club meeting tonight up at Methven, but sort of an hour trip, but lucky it's cooled off for me, so I get a bit of sleep tonight. So yeah, it's just high winds and stopping us having the meeting, which is all good.
Pretty cold too, though. Is that right or not?
No, nor'west is a warm wind, so what it means is that over on the west coast it'll be raining and snowing and hail and stuff, and over on the east coast it's not so bad. We just get the high winds and not the rain yeah.
It's something us Aussies take for granted. I mean, we both live on islands. Everyone lives on an island, but I mean, ours is a little bit bigger than yours. But you do cop some very strange weather patterns, especially this time of year, don't you?
Yeah, it is this time of the year. I mean, like even the warm nor'west winds that's coming off the snow up there. So skiers will be happy again, I think, as long as it's not blowing the snow off.
They're never happy. I don't know if you've noticed that. I have over the journey, mate. You just said there before you've just got back from Queensland. I saw that pop up on your Harness Racing Unhinged Facebook pages. Spur of the moment thing, or was it a little bit pre-planned?
No, we had to sort of plan 6 months ago. We planned on coming back and watching Spellbound not run second this time and win, but unfortunately Spellbound's injured and retired, not running at all, which is a bit of a bugger.
So it was always just there. So you said, "Oh well, we'll keep going."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't going to waste an opportunity. I'm sort of stuck at work 5 days a week now, so weekend's my weekend. So Australian weekend's pretty cool.
I say on the other show that I do on Loose Lines about how well the Queenslanders do at Carnival, and Greg Sugars, I was talking to him as well. They do it good. They're doing it better and better as they go now, aren't they? It continues to grow and continues to get bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah, and it's the perfect time of the year. I think it's the perfect time of the year for New Zealanders being sneaking something over there. You know, we don't have to run against the big boys here and sneak over to Aussie. And I mean, looking at the fields that you had over there, half the fields were New Zealand bred horses, but not so much New Zealand owned anymore, but at least they were bred here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that's one thing Kiwis have always done. I mean, you breed such a strong lot of horses. It's just, it's terrific. It's one thing we've got to make sure we continue to grow, and I hope people won't sit on their hands. We need to keep New Zealand guys breeding quality stock, but we can come here. This show is actually brought to you by two breeders and one other company that actually rely heavily on the breeders, with Woodlands Stud, Haras Trotteurs, and also NZB Standardbred. So the breeding department is what sort of turns the wheel a lot at New Zealand. I won't say it's the only thing that turns the wheel, but it is one of the bigger contributors, that's for sure.
Yeah, I have a sort of a different opinion on the breeding and the owners thing. I mean, breeders, sure, we want to throw out lots of breeding incentives to breed more horses, but it's the owners that we need. What drives all those studs is having plenty of owners, and I think they're sort of getting forgotten a bit over here. There's all sorts of incentives to become a breeder, but let's get the owners back on track, and find some more owners. I think that's where I want to spend my sort of time and energy.
Oh, it's one thing, I agree with that. I think you need to get people, the same thing, NZB won't survive if there's not people coming through the door to buy those horses, to be the owners, to be the people that want to race them and continue to race them. Syndicates are enormous. How do syndicates work over there? Are they effective or?
Well, they're certainly going good. We have a slight issue in New Zealand. We have a thing called to become a registered syndicator. So what that means is, basically, if you want to advertise your horses and put prices on them and advertise them in the daily newspapers, you have to become a registered syndicator. So to become a registered syndicator, there's certainly rules you've got to have. You've got to have your horses valued. You've basically got to be insured. They've got to be. You have to be you have to be able to be audited at any time by anyone in your syndicate. There's just a lot of costs, so it suddenly becomes. I think I could be wrong. In New Zealand, Stonewall Stud do a great job of syndicating up horses, and they're a registered syndicator. But I think they may only be the only ones in New Zealand that are. That everyone else sort of does it through word of mouth. They can't. They can advertise, but they can't advertise pricing or anything like that. So it just makes it extremely difficult. I think. I think there's something that our industry needs to change. But hopefully we'll start working on that. Make it simpler.
It's a common problem. It's a similar problem here. A lot of people say they syndicate horses, and they do, but whether they do it quite how they should do it is one of the other key components. So I think they're happy to turn a blind eye to a certain extent, but I know in the thoroughbreds it's regulated that hard. I did a story with some guys, roll the dice, local blokes, and more or less Racing Victoria rang them and said, listen, you got to become a syndicator or else. And basically they said, we better become a syndicator. And then they reckon Racing Victoria bent over backwards to help them. They didn't want them gone. They just said, if you don't become a syndicator, you can't continue the way that you're doing. They're just a group of guys that started getting horses together. And so they got that in. But in the Standardbreds here, we're the same as you guys. There are people there that syndicate, but I doubt too many of them will have all the proper licences and that, and they're flirting with danger, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I'd say it's 100% true here as well. And it's something that I'd like to get involved with is make it easier to become a registered syndicator. I don't think it's that particularly hard, but I think there just needs to be a bit of time spent on it. Like, I syndicate up plenty of horses, but it's all word of mouth, and I work in really good with it. Harness Racing New Zealand have been extremely good to me. I've got 330 or 340 odd owners, and it's worked because I work in so well with Harness Racing New Zealand. We're pretty black and white. There is no, as I say, I don't like charging anyone for anything, so that's where I'm a bit different. And as soon as you charge somebody in New Zealand any sort of fees, you have to, by law, you should be a registered syndicator. And whether that's happening or not, I don't really know, but that's how it is.
Yep. No, I think I agree. I think we've got to be able, and then if we can do it properly, that can then encourage more people to get involved in the industry. How's Harness Racing Unhinged going, mate? You're still enjoying it? You get out, you did some random interviews.
Yeah. Absolutely love it. I mean, it's hard to judge things. I mean, you can judge on it how many people watch the videos and that. I think last month, over all my videos, I think I did about 27 or 28, they got viewed 100,000 times. This month is going to be the same. So, I mean, it doesn't mean to say every interview might get 3,000 or 4,000 if you do a good one with someone like, I don't know, Brittany. That's really rocking. It's hard to find the audience. The audience is becoming more regular, and I just love it. It's good fun, and that's why basically I couldn't not go to Australia, and I spent most of the night doing interviews and thinking about what I was going to do rather than watching the races, which is a bit of a shame, but you get that.
I think we're both pretty similar, and I will encourage anyone, if you go about this job, it's hard. I'm sure you're in the same boat, Nigel. Don't worry about the figures and the likes and things like that. You worry about one or two bits of feedback, and as long as it's good, positive feedback, you're on the right track, and you just continue going that way. I love getting a random person tell me something about one of our interviews that happens, and I think that's the greatest way. You're spreading the word when it's a random person that actually can say, "Yep, that works." I know it sounds funny and it might sound hard, but yeah, you get addicted a little bit to seeing 10 likes, 20 likes. You want to get 100 likes and things like that. That doesn't mean it's a good or bad episode, because there's some people that just click like because they want to see harness racing grow, which is great. But I think it's that little bit of feedback you can get from people from time to time that makes a world of difference, doesn't it?
It does, and something that probably disappoints me is you probably get the same over there. You do a good interview, you do it, you feature it around a runner from a particular stud or a particular trainer, and then that trainer doesn't share the stuff that you've just done for them. I mean, I do it for free, and yet they don't pick up on something. It just I don't know. The more you can share stuff, the more that there's not too much stuff out there on Facebook. The people will sit there all day and watch it if there's something there. So let's just keep putting more out. There's no such thing as too much content.
I done a great one the other day with Shane Sanderson. I say a great one, like I wrap it because I thought it was quite good. It was actually a great story about how they devoted their life to their kids, and they're getting repaid. Abby and Ryan are driving winners left, right, and centre now, and exactly that. I didn't even know Shane or Naomi were on Facebook. I think it's had something like 15, 20 shares, all through Naomi and Naomi's friends. Like, so it's just a simple way of growing a very, very good audience. Like, I didn't even tag them in it because I didn't think they were on Facebook, but they're on Facebook. Don't worry about that. And they share it and tag it everywhere. And it does makes, like you said, a bit more rewarding, but it also then gets the word out to so many more random people that we can get to.
Yeah, I'm probably looking at I'm looking at the moment. I'm getting some costings and stuff. I'm getting a website up there so I can start sharing stuff to people that aren't on Facebook. Because I mean, Facebook is huge and it's fantastic for their interviews and videos. But there's probably another audience out there I'm not reaching because they're not on Facebook. So Addington Raceway have been really, really good to me. I mean, they've put my name on a couple of races and they're sharing my stories on their website, which is, and they've got a huge audience. So there's players coming into it, and we're all trying to drive the same industry. I love the horses. That's why we do it. That's share it out.
Nah, and I will say that I'm going to try and help Nige with a few things. Be able to, do some remote interviews on cold winter's nights, mate. When it's like this, it's a bit easier than getting out into the weather. But also to be able to get some different people. We start talking about some of the Kiwis and what they're doing. Bulldog Hanover on the weekend. Did you get to see that before or after you got into the air, Nige, at all?
Yeah, I did see that, and that was, I mean, Jesus, Dexter, isn't he just a star? He's a rock star, isn't he? And that horse is just a machine. It's something that, wouldn't you love to have him here? I mean, and he'd be the pin-up boy for the whole industry, and he should be, and Dexter should be the pin-up boy for the whole industry. It's something again. I don't know whether he's been bitten in the media before or something like that, but God, he's a superstar, and we should be he should be up there with Scott Dixon, IndyCar driver, and Craig Smith, your golfer, and things like that.
Scotty Dixon won on the weekend too. Don't worry, I know your Kiwis. I saw that he beat another Kiwi actually, and Scott McLaughlin actually. I think he might have finished a bit further back, but anyway, we digress. I reckon Dexter is a superstar. I saw there must have been a mistake. I saw one, and he set another world record with a horse in America, but it was 2:4.1. So I'm not sure what that was about. I was actually meant to go in and have a look at it. But one thing I do love about Dexter, whenever he comes back for those photos and those poses in America, he's always standing out with the horses on that loose but controlled rein, if you like. Like, he goes back to his roots of being a Kiwi because the horses always come first, and he's just respectful of the horses, the way he stands behind them and more or less says the horse is a star.
Yeah, I think that's because they hand them off to another caretaker, and he walks back and sits in his lazy boy and watches until the next race.
But you watch some of the guys, they'll come back and they're cheering and carrying on, whereas Dexter just comes back, walks out, climbs out, stands there, poses for the photo, and more or less says it's not about me, it's about the horse in front of me.
Yeah, that's Dexter, and that's the whole family. To be fair, the Dunn family, Johnny's exactly the same. That's just how they roll. And Robert, they're just family people. They're down to earth, and just one of the team.
We'll get on to those guys in a minute, but Cam Bray was very cheeky. He sent me a text message. I did a stay and release here for Woodlands, and I encourage anyone to go and watch it about the stadium prices here in Australia with Mark Hughes. And he said he was going to issue me with a copyright infringement, I think it was, for spreading false news, because we recorded that on Friday, and at the time Lather Up was one of three horses that set a mark of 146. It was like, he only set that last week, Bulldog Hanover, and then this week he's turned around and goes 145.4. It's just ridiculous. It's just amazing the times that when Lather Up was the same, I know that, and I would imagine Always Be Mickey probably was the same as well. When they get on a roll, these horses in America, they seem to be able to just carve out those times week in, week out.
Yeah, well, somebody tells me in between races it's serving mares, that Bulldog Hanover. Unbelievable. On like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Friday, it's serving mares and it's racing on the Saturday, Sundays.
Wow.
Yeah, so Someone could have been lying to me, but that's what he's told me. So.
I'll have to chase that one up. You got me. I'll have to beat you to the punch with that one. But no, it doesn't matter. We're not worried about who's first or second, Nigel. We'll work together. If that is true, that is a huge story. That's for sure. You said there about the Duns, major milestone for the week as well. For the year. Pretty big achievement.
Yeah, well, that's Jenna and Robert as the new training partnership, and that's another one that people say to Jenna Dunn, her name's down as a part trainer. How does that work? Well, geez, go out to the beach and watch her work, and you'll and it's same with a lot of the partners and trainers. You see one dominant name in there. You see Mark Purdon, and you forget about the Hayden Cullen. Well, go out there every day of the week, and you'll see the Hayden Cullen out there working. It's people get a wee bit forgotten, and Jenna Dunn is one of those people. She's out there every day putting in the hard yards, and she just loves her horses too. So it's fantastic for Jenna and Robert and the whole family. As I say, they're a family-based training partnership.
It's one of the things that frustrates me over here. Like Marie Caldo, she's never driven a horse. She'll openly tell you she's never driven a horse. And everyone turns around and says, well, Johnny's a real trainer. It's just so that he can pick whichever horses he wants to drive and all the rest. Reezy's there every day. She has been for years. They struggle to get staff. They're always there behind the scenes. And even if they're not there, if they're at home talking to the owners or doing the bills, there's, as you and I both know, there's 100 ways you can run a business. It doesn't have to be the person that takes the $5 and puts it into the till that's the person that's running the business. There's so many ways you can actually run it. And it is a family sport. Yet we always seem to want to shoot them down in a blaze of glory, especially over here. I don't know if you guys are as bad, but here we're shocking. Yeah,
we are pretty much the same here. I did an interview with Robert when he was down here, and he had a horse Triple G, which is some beach somewhere, I think, which brought up the 100 wins for them, which is Woodlands. Is it Woodlands?
They had it down by the seaside.
I think so, down by the seaside.
Yeah,
down by the seaside. Sorry, yeah. that one, and. Again, I filmed Robert, and he was down there. He was like a galloping trainer. I filmed him watching the horse. He wasn't in the cart, and he was telling me all about the horse. And so again, people, you don't have to be in the cart to be the trainer. We'll just ask a galloping trainer, how many of them do you see sitting on the back of a horse? Probably about none.
It's actually a funny thing over here. There's more and more galloping trainers now having to throw a leg over because they can't get staff. It's a different story, but David Hayes doesn't ride horses anymore. I mean, he's a leading trainer in Hong Kong. So Johnny Size probably could, but David Hayes, you'd never throw him on the back of a horse. So the horses wouldn't know what hit them. So it is a bit of a frustrating thing, and I think it's a great achievement. And you did say that was actually down by the seasides. First winner in New Zealand, so from a limited book of horses that first season. So he's starting to hit the ground running, that's for sure. What else is going on in New Zealand, mate? What else we got as far as news?
Well, it's not our downtime this time of year. It's a wee bit average the weather, but Addington have been running two days a week, which is for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and the figures have been really good. People say about Addington it's a leader bias track. Well, what a load of rubbish that is. You start looking at what's been winning lately. It's things are coming from the back, coming from the front. There's been great divvies. The GBR that they keep telling us about here is what racing's all about. So that's gross betting revenue. So that's actually what they make per race, not how much is bet on it, but what the bookies and that can skin out of it. It's been going very, very well. I think things are pretty reasonably positive for this time of year because it's as I say, it's our downtime. The good horses aren't out there, but the betting turnover's been good and the money's been good.
I get frustrated with the betting turnover comment, I must say, but we definitely need it. Otherwise, we don't have an industry. But this, when people worry about leaders' bias and the likes, I think 888, great Kiwi horse, 2 weeks ago, come from last and was just breathtaking. He was probably equally as good last weekend. Just the race and the tempo wasn't run the same way for him to be able to get into it. I think you got to be able to see things a little bit differently instead of just saying, the leader led and won. You got to look at the tempo and what else is going on in those races.
Yeah, well, Majida was set down as $1.30 or $1.20 shot to win. I mean, it was just going to lead and win. Well, didn't get to lead and didn't win. Again, like last year when Spellbound was robbed by some rough horse at 80 to 1.
You're not over it yet.
One again. No. You never get over these things.
You'll have to try one time, but it is. I'd like to back onto Queensland. I enjoy Queensland racing. I just think for some reason, I don't know whether it is just the good horses. I don't watch it a lot in the off season because it's a fair way removed. But this time of year, I think it's great racing and predominantly looks warm. Was it warm there the other day? Just quickly.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Everyone told me to wrap up warm and wear 3 jackets and 2 pairs of underpants and stuff like that. But got to the track and maybe it's Australian cold, but New Zealand warm.
Queensland cold. I remember going up there one year in shorts and a t-shirt, and they had fires going. So I think they have a bit of an issue with true cold and half cold. Nige, one other thing that I do have to do is make sure people are aware of the Gavel House, which is actually on as we speak. There's 29 lots raising from Woodlands to tried stock. There's actually a John Dunn horse in amongst those. I did see there. That's actually the wrong page. Why has that done that? We'll take that one off. But anyway, go to Standardbred .gavelhouse.co.nz and check on there. There's 29 lots in that sale. Something's gone wrong with that feed. That's annoying me, that feed. It does that a lot lately to me, Nige, and I don't know why it's done that, but brought up the wrong one anyway. But the horse of the Duns is, I'm going to say, is it Debois? A Father Patrick trotter?
Debois, the trotter.
Yeah. So only because it's in Johnny's colours. That's the only reason I know is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly that smart. That's for sure. So, so you're a bit like us over there at the minute with the racing. It's just that little bit quiet. Just wall to wall racing, not necessarily quality stock stepping out.
Yeah, there is that. But I mean, Addington haven't made a song and dance of it, but their Friday night stakes have definitely snuck up from what they've been in the last year. So last year you would have been running for 8,000 to 12,000. This year you're running for 12.5 to 17,000 on a Friday at Addington, and then Sundays the stakes aren't quite so much. You're 10 grand somewhere like that. But that's a step up for both of them. So I mean, it's fantastic. That. And the horses, it's a different atmosphere actually on a Sunday. It's quite good. It's a country atmosphere at Addington. We're starting to get families and things out there, which is really good. And it's you get a bad weather. Where else would you want to be except the best track in the Southern Hemisphere, I think, and great stabling and great facilities. So it is good.
You won't get much of an argument here from the stabling, I can tell you that, because most of our stables are pretty miserable. I haven't been there yet. I'm coming. Don't worry. I'm going to be there a couple of times this year, so I'm looking forward to it. But I've been to New Zealand twice or 3 times, I think.
I'll organise a drive down the beach with you.
Yeah. Looking forward.
Yeah, so I have to get you a drive down the beach with Johnny. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, I'll bring me GoPros with me as well. Don't worry about that. I'll have it all set up. I'd love that. I enjoy watching those. I enjoy watching the trip. Just full stop, just getting there. I think it's something very different. I like the way it just looks amazing place. So it would be very, very good. All right, mate. I reckon that's about all I've got. I don't know if you've got anything else, but make sure you keep an eye on Harness Racing Unhinged with Nigel. I think I saw there was something like 100 posts in the last 2 weeks. Did you know you did that many?
No, I just carry on doing stuff. I don't look at the numbers. I'm like you, Paul.
It does get serious, and he is going to be evolving. And if I have my way, I'll get him out onto YouTube as well. So, Nige, thank you very much for joining me, mate. And I must say, these Kiwis, they're starting to tune into On Loose Lines a bit too, mate. I'm getting more of a New Zealand contingency. Clearly, at about 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night, there's not much on TV in New Zealand.
Well, it used to be the box seat. I mean, when Greg O'Connor, it used to be, it was on a regularly on an 8:30 on a Wednesday night. But now he has his downtime, so the show's not on. So why not tune in to Loose Lines and give some Aussies some steak, which is fun.
That's actually interesting. That might be what has actually happened. So I don't mind that. I saw Greg in the T-shirt. He's enjoying the Queensland weather. He's been over there for a couple of weeks. It's a nice little junket for him at the minute.
Yeah, people even say to me, you're trying to get Greg O'Connor's job. No, because I don't know a quarter of the... I mean, he's a dictionary on... Well, they call Gavin Smith Mr. Google, but I don't know. Greg O'Connor's right up there. His knowledge is unbelievable, and as I say, I don't pretend to be him. He's just too good for me.
I think you and I both have one issue there. He's very refined and polished. You and I lack pretty much both those, don't we?
What are you trying to say?
we're slightly odd, but marginally better than Cam Bray. That's all I'll say.
Well, yeah, that's we're not scraping the bottom of the barrel there, are we?
No, we're not. Nige, thank you. Look forward to getting over there very shortly. We might make it a bit more regular, and tempted to try something very different with yourself and Cam going forward as well. Just trying to keep the word going out there and getting a bit more of a New Zealand feel. So we'll keep doing some things, but as I say, to any Aussies that are watching this show, make sure you hit the like on your Facebook page and follow Harness Racing Unhinged. Who's the girl? I'm going to be in so much trouble that helps you with all the filming.
She's working for a Harness Racing New Zealand now, so she's still helping me with my technical stuff, but I'm sort of doing it by myself most of the time. But I'm trying to rope Amy Edmonds into helping me, so that's Tim Williams' partner, I should say. I shouldn't say wife yet because they're not married. They're just living in sin. I'm sure they'll like that. But yeah, Amy Edmonds has been doing a bit of work for me, and basically all the filming and that I sort of have a crack at it myself. So when I'm here, you don't see much of me because I'm on the other side of the camera as well, which makes it slightly tricky. But yeah, it's not all about me.
No, you'll refine it. Don't worry about that. All right, Nige, thank you very much for joining me. And look, as I say, keep an eye out for Harness Racing Unhinged, and I'll look forward to catching up with you very shortly, mate.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
But it's Revelstoke clear. Revelstoke will go on and win. Revelstoke. Fancy with 100 metres to travel in front with Karen Manning, and Fancy goes on to win it. Fancy from
inside, but the star mare, the superstar mare of Australian trotting, I'm Ready Jet, wins the tap. Something About Maori Group 1 by 4 metres.